Hi, I'm KUDO Mal, Branch Chief of KUDO Wales in the UK. I'm on a mission to raise awareness for KUDO and the benefits of being a martial artist. KUDO is a full contact mixed martial art and combat sport developed by Grandmaster Azuma Takashi. In my opinion, KUDO is the perfect way for martial arts to pressure test the efficiency and their technique as well as their fighting ability, as it's the closest thing you're going to get to a real fight.
Hey guys, Rob here with McDojoLife. Hey, how's it going?
Hey Rob, how you doing?
Wonderful. Let me plug in my mic real fast. I always forget that I have it. I know this room echoes, so I'll try to make sure that I at least sound okay.
Can you hear me okay? I've just got a mic for the first time, so this is a new
I can hear you clear. So
okay, cool. So I'm this is my little place. This is my little dojo in Wales.
I got you. Cool, man.
Yeah, it's not bad, is it? It's like an outside area as well. There's an upstairs so people can kind of chill afterwards, and like the parents can watch via the CCTV. So I got cameras everywhere. Yeah,
Cool.
so yeah, it's more like a community center, to be honest. Now, it's because I spend a fair bit of time trying to hit the road and promote the best that I can. Because like yourself, you said. Never heard of KUDO, so that's part of the job, right? So you gotta kind of.
Yeah, I've actually seen it before, but
yeah,
just a little perspective. So like for what I deal with every martial art.
Yeah.
So the problem with that is one, there's over 2,000 different versions of karate alone. 2,000.
Wow.
Each one of those has its own name.
Yeah.
And then of course you have over 200 different versions of Indonesian Silat. And that's not including Kali or Eskrima or Arnis. It's just Silat. Yeah. And each one of those has a name. And that's very Filipino based. So it's mostly names I can't pronounce anyway. So whenever somebody says, have you heard of this style or that style? Unless it's one that's like on the forefront of my mind, chances are good I've seen it, but I just don't know what it's called or things like that. So, but I have seen it before. It's very similar to like MMA with a gi and a full face shield and headgear. So
yeah, you got it, mate. So I know you're a busy man, so I'll just get straight into it. So I'm going to welcome you, Rob. We don't know each other before, but you're Mr. McDojoLife. And some people say Muck and Mac and all the rest of it. But this side of the pond, we say Muck, like McDonald's sort of thing.
Yeah, man.
And welcome to Fight and Talk. It's not a big channel at the minute. I've got like 900 and something subscribers, but working hard on it. And me and all the boys laugh all the time at the stuff that you put on. And I've noticed some like quite serious stuff as well. So, we'll get to that in a minute. But can you just tell the guys, like all our guys will know what it is, hopefully, you're up in us rather than the other way around. So, but just for anybody that doesn't know, can you say a little bit about yourself and your background?
Just my background. So I've been in the martial arts industry for about 24 years now. I started when I was 12 and I'm 36 now. So I'm aging. 40 is creeping. But yeah, so I started off in karate. And then from there, I'm a third degree black belt in karate, a third degree black belt in something called Sanchez-Jones, which is a weapon system not too many people have heard of. It basically just means I'm good at nunchucks. I am a purple belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. I'm a 6-0 boxer, 4-2 amateur kickboxer. I was on an international kickboxing team for 2 years called Team Full Circle. We traveled internationally in kickboxing, did sport karate. Yeah. I've been running McDojoLife now for about 9 years. We're creeping up on almost a decade, which is crazy to me. And then I ran a martial arts school for 4 years, and I've been doing martial arts business consulting now for about 10 years. So
you spat that out like you've said it a million times. So it's it seems like what I like about your work as well. It's that quite often, I'm unashamedly plugging everything every time I get anywhere about KUDO because it needs that recognition. But it's like your channel has this. It's very well organized, so that you got your fun sides. I really enjoyed it. I was just watching my wife before. She said, "So who's this channel, right?" And I said, "Oh, look at this one. This is a good one." So it's like I can't remember the guy. It was a Sistema guy. And it was like how to deal with group hugging that you don't want.
Goes by the name of Vadim Starov. I probably messed up his name. I don't care. Now, Vadim runs a martial arts studio in Russia called Sistema Spetsnaz. but you probably know him better from some of his classic self-defense videos, such as Defense Against Multiple Unwanted Hugging, Defense Against a Man Who's Holding a Pistol but at the same time also having a stroke.
That type of stuff. And I think that in itself is, you know, I watch videos and you just think, oh my God, and it depends on what time of the day. In the morning, laugh it off. At the end of the day, it's like, oh, I can't go. So seeing material like that is really, really helpful for us. But so just to get the KUDO bit out of the way. So you've said you've seen it before.
Yes.
But you described it as like MMA in the gi. So what type of kind of impression did you get of it from the little that you've seen?
I mean, it reminded me of being very much like a Kyokushin karate in a way where everybody's wearing a gi. I saw a lot of Kyokushin techniques, like one's a very famous one from Kyokushin, which is like called the Rolling Thunder, which is basically just head diving first and hoping you can axe kick somebody on the way down, which looks like a barrel roll to anybody who doesn't know what that is. But you know, that's looks very, very familiar from Kyokushin. You know, it reminds me of a little bit of like Wing Chun. And when you look at Wing Chun guys, when they are in competition, a lot, not all, but a lot of Wing Chun guys do wear full face masks.
Yeah.
Which is a good thing and a bad thing. I think for sport, it's a smart thing. I think for application, not as smart, mostly because you kind of get used to having this barrier in front of your face that is going to take a brunt of the damage. So it's almost like, well, it's almost worth taking one sometimes to give one, where if that barrier wasn't there, you probably wouldn't take one the same way. So, you know, the gi is there, which is always handy. So that means that you have more things to grab onto, lapels, sleeves, things like that. But, you know, it looks like a nice blend of a few different things that I've seen in other arts. But at the end of the day, only thing that's going to dictate whether it's going to be popular or not is organization.
Yeah.
Period. Like if you look at the Olympics, the WKF karate style is the karate style that made it to the Olympics. Now, WKF is a very specific rule set. And funny enough, you don't even have to make contact in WKF karate. You can just pull your punch, and as long as it looked like it would make contact, you still get a point. Whereas something like a NASCA, for instance, or a WACO or NBL, those type of styles of point karate, those organizations that run different rule sets of point karate are a little bit more hard-nosed. You'll see guys like Raymond Daniels, Stephen Thompson, Michael Venom Page, hell, even GSP every once in a while will mix it up with those guys from our Sage Northcutt. They all come from a different cut of point fighter. When you look at somebody like a Raymond Daniels, Stephen Thompson, that breed is from NASCA and WACO. And it's a very much a rough nose, better version, in my opinion, of point karate. But at the same time, because they're not as organized, the better fighters are always going to be overshadowed by the WKF guys. And I'm not raining on their parade in any way. I just feel like that rule set is a much more watered down rule set than what NASCA and WACO are doing. And so what's happening is when you got to the finals of the Olympics, you know, that dude got knocked out, won first place for getting knocked out. In WACO, like that rule set is there, right? But because it's kind of like, well, maybe it is, maybe it isn't. And they're not so strict on the rule set that they would never make it to the Olympics. That style will never make it. So that goes to show you that organization sometimes is better in the long run for growth of a sport or an art than even the art itself. The art might be great, but it's very similar to like if I made a great pizza. If I made a great pizza, I sat on my kitchen table and I said, this is the greatest pizza ever, but I never advertised it and no one knew it existed, then guess what? That pizza is going to sit there. So, you know, organization is going to dictate growth.
Well, that's it. You know, I started off in traditional karate. I still practice. I mean, I don't focus on kata or things like that anymore, but I still practice on the good stuff that was taught me via it, you know. But, you know, it's like, let's face it, if that guy didn't get knocked out in that Olympic championship, it was the best thing for a lot of contact arts or combat sports, because it said, you know, let's face it, you can argue all day long that no touch stuff's not really teaching you enough. But to be on a top stage and to happen and then be awarded a gold medal, I think that just, it summed it up for me. So it was great. I thought, I appreciate what the guys doing, athletes. You mentioned Michael Venom Page and the list of people. I left traditional karate and and I was the black sheep. So some of this, I've got really crap videos when I started now because I learned to edit. But at the start, I put black sheep, and it's got me going at the beginning because we're Welsh, we're known for sheep, right? And we were the black sheep. So it was actually Michael's dad, Curtis, that picked me up in the year 2000 and was like, you know, you've got what it takes. Come along here, try and do it differently. So I was trained with Michael, and he was absolutely shit hot. You know, you just literally couldn't get anywhere near him as far as sparring unless you cornered him. So you need to have a mixed martial art way of doing it. And I used to feel like I got to corner this kid, otherwise he's not going anywhere, you know?
Yeah.
And it kind of took me into different sort of place to be, but it was like the top 10% of the sport karate people could take it across and learn the skills. It's not a generic thing, is it? Because you can take sport, you can't legitimize your art by just going naming people, can you?
Well, I think it depends. So for instance, whoever wins a fight is the person who's able to dictate the range of combat in which they're best at and keep the fight there. And that applies to all warfare. So for instance, how we've adapted warfare over the years is, for instance, let's just think about how we would do it in armored night times, right? That got axes and maces and chainmail and all that. And then all of our army lines up on one side and then everybody else lines up on the other side, right? Yeah. The first people to die are the ones who get shot with arrows. That's always the first people to die, right? And so what the Native Americans discovered when, you know, we in the United States, we came over, we said, fuck you, Britain, we're going to do it our own way, right? And then we decided that we're going to have to take this land. Well, in order to take this land, we had to get rid of the natives who already inhabited it. Yeah. And so that was when we really first discovered guerrilla warfare, was when we lined up with our guns like we always did for the history of ever. We pointed it and they just ran. We're like, well, what the hell is that? And then we, not knowing how combat really worked, at being, you know, something that could be revolutionized, we chased them into the woods and they dictated the range of combat. They were hiding in trees. They were shooting arrows. They were keeping us at bay. And it really did mess us up for a very long time trying to figure out how to fight this new warfare. So when you're looking at point fighting, for instance, a lot of guys now are transitioning fairly well into MMA, but that's because they understand what that range of combat is for.
Yeah.
It's not going to help you with your ground game, right? It's not going to help you in your clinch. It's not going to help you with a lot of things. But one thing it is going to do is going to help you in two major ranges, which is kicking range and punching range or boxing range, right? I should be able to hit you first and get out of the way without you hitting me back. And then if I can continue that pace, such as like a Michael Venom Page will do, where he'll engage, disengage. The reason he's disengaging isn't because he's scared of the other guy. He's dictating range of combat. So I think what you're getting now with mixed martial arts is a lot of people are starting to understand that every art has its own way of handling a range of combat better than other arts do. So they're not just trying to say, well, I'm a point fighter and I'm just going to point fight. Well, that's never going to work. It's not going to be how that works, right? So you're going to have to learn some basic ground game. You're going to have to learn some takedown defense if you want to be able to continue in that range of combat. It's not easy, but it can be done for sure.
Michael Venom Page, bloody, oh mate, when he was a kid, because I'm obviously a lot older than him, and Curtis didn't like us throwing leg kicks then. It was when he was going into adulthood, he could throw shots from such a big range that it was really, really difficult to actually pick him off, you know.
Yeah, for sure. It's difficult to really hit a point fighter the way that you want, you know, like I think it's something that a lot of guys are starting to take under their wing now, is not so much the point fighter habits on the inside, like in the pocket, but they're taking advantage of that long range footwork. And it's really, if you notice right now, something that's been mentioned a lot has been the lead leg calf kick. You know, people are saying that that's changed the game. Well, I think a subtlety to that people haven't really paid attention to is because more guys are taking advantage of this point fighter wider stance when they're on the outside range, that it's leaving that available. And so if it wasn't for this wider stance that these guys are taking and this movement these guys are taking, which is a lot more different now, it's a little more bouncy, it's a little more taekwondo, it's a little more karate, because they're realizing it's easier to get in and out of the pocket that way, then that calf kick might not be necessarily as easy to get. I go live every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 9 a.m. Eastern Time on our Instagram page, and I welcome anyone to join me, whether you agree with me, disagree with me, want to have a conversation about something, maybe I made a mistake, you're more than welcome to join the live. I allow anybody to join the conversation. All you got to do is just request, and we'll chit-chat live on our Instagram. Also, I really look forward to reading your comments in the comment section below. As always, thank you for the likes, comments, shares, subscriptions, and all that other crap people on YouTube and Instagram and all the social medias ask you to do. Keep the martial arts legit.